Yeah.
Is it the right way now? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's vertical. You know what? When I tried to set it up, we might have to live with vertical, because when I set it up, there was no button for setting orientation for some reason. I don't know whether there's a glitch. Anyway, we'll live with it.
This is better.
Okay. All right. So yeah, there's one guy. He looks a little sour. Well, yeah. Never actually looked in the building here. So anyway, so the people up there?
No, just saying the sign.
Yeah, we saw that. This area is actually probably one of the higher crime areas in the city, right downtown here. So it's not the best location. Plus, there's no parking here at all. Like, there's a parking lot kind of up and around the corner over there, but no real parking here. I don't know why they chose this location. So we're gonna walk to, let me just flip this around here. Yeah, sorry for the orientation thing. I looked for that button to put it on landscape mode, but it just didn't seem to want to go. So we'll live with this. So we're gonna walk over to their Ideal Org building, and it's not that far, but I'm gonna do a little talk here just on the history of Scientology in Winnipeg. In 1970, around then, there was a guy from Hawaii named Jim Bostrom who came to Winnipeg, and he started promoting Scientology, and he started kind of a group, and he was having like courses and stuff in his house, and he built it up, and he by I think the mid 70s there was an org in Winnipeg, a small org, like in a house, and then not a great house, but anyway. So Willie and I, during the early 70s, from 74, we were in Toronto. We came out through Winnipeg, and then we moved to Calgary for 3 years. And then when we went back to Toronto, and there was an org in Calgary, we never went, I think went in once just to deliver something, but never went in, never did any courses. So when we went back to Toronto, I bought some auditing, and they couldn't find my folders. So, and finally, the one guy remembered there was a guy who used to be on staff in Toronto who had sent my folders. Oops, sorry about that. Gimbal glitchy. He had sent my folders to Winnipeg. I guess when we went through Winnipeg, we were here for a month. He thought for some reason that we were gonna live here, so out of the blue, he just sent them off. The problem was there was no Winnipeg Org at the time. Oh, it's still going funky here. There was no Winnipeg Org then. So what they did is they found a guy, a Scientologist in Winnipeg, and had him go down to the building where the org was, that house. The guy went down there and he looked in the back porch, and there in the back porch, stacked up in this deserted house, were my folders with all my everything, all my overts and withholds and life, everything. So anyway, the guy shipped them back to Toronto, and they were there for a little while, and then the Toronto org burnt down along with my folders. So, you know, talk about wall of fire. Anyway, so the thing is, Scientology in Winnipeg has been sporadic, kind of on and off for quite a few years, up until, I'm not sure when they opened this building, but probably maybe 15, 20 years ago. And then there were a few sort of moderately sized whales in Winnipeg who coughed up some dough, and they managed to raise enough money to buy a building that was supposed to be for an ideal org. Now, I was here at this building back, when was that? At least 12, 13 years ago. And they'd had it for a while at that point. So I'm not sure exactly how long they've had it, but it's been sitting there derelict for all that time. And I don't know if they've got anybody that's got money left in it at all there in the org, but they'll never, ever get that org set up. It's just not going to happen. So why does this keep shifting around here? Sorry about that, everybody. Yeah, technical glitches. So anyway, we're arriving at the building now. So what I'm going to do, I want to get well, we'll walk around it first, then I'll get a wide angle view of it. But I'm going to switch this around so you can see what this building looks like. All right, here we go. So this is the building here.
The ideal org.
A big building. So how many, you know, you wonder how many Scientologists would take to fill that thing if they did renovate it. You know, I'd be surprised if there were half a dozen staff members in Winnipeg Org, if that. But even if there was a dozen, you know, they're not going to fill this building at all. And then public, just not going to happen. So, but it's a beautiful, it could have been a beautiful building. I'm sure in its day it was. And it could be fixed up beautifully, I think. But the area is not great. So here's the front door.
And that's the sign.
There's their, oops, here we go.
That is the sign. Church
there's Scientology right there.
Nice big sign.
Let me back out here and see if I can get a wide angle without getting hit by a car. So you can see it's a beautiful building. I mean, it's kind of run down, and probably inside, I'm sure, is just kind of crappy. But it's, we'll walk around back. I think there's a guy sitting in a pickup truck out back. I think they were expecting us. There was a car right, I should have taken a video of back there, but there was a guy sitting in there's a side door. The Peck building is what this is. Side door. See if that guy's still sitting in the pickup truck. I think they were expecting us, but that's okay. And this is the back. And oh, good, Scientologist. So here we have Scientologist.
Oh, okay.
He's videoing us. We're videoing him. Awesome.
Hello.
I love it. What's your name? Hey, would you have a conversation?
What's your name?
Oh, look at, he's getting aggressive.
No.
Oh no, you can't touch her.
No.
You can't touch. No.
What's your name? What's your name?
That's okay. He's not going to talk.
You know Scientology is a cult, right?
That's okay. He knows who we are. You want me to give you my name? I'd be happy to. You want my name? Phil Jones. There we go. Oh, he was confronting and shattering us. Let's have a look and see where he goes on the other side here. You can't be touching these guys. They'll call the police on. And there he goes back to the org. Oh, he's the guy that was taking the pictures inside.
Yeah.
Well, let's get a wide angle of this building.
Yeah. We can go across the street and get a wide angle.
Across there.
Go over here. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, we can go this way. guy wanted my name. I didn't mind giving it to him. Let's, well, I think I back up even more. There's the building. Winnipeg Ideal Org. Empty, derelict. Last time we were here, there was actually a homeless person sleeping kind of on the front porch there, on the front step. But there's a lot of homeless people in this area, unfortunately. It's kind of sad. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, it is huge. So, yeah, Sue Irwin says, hey, wow, it's a huge building. Like, why the heck does Winnipeg think why they would even think they need a building that big? It's like, how many people are they going to have in order to fill that thing? They don't have enough.
We've been here an hour and a half, and we only saw one Scientologist.
Yeah, in an hour and a half, we've seen one Scientologist. But they wouldn't even have enough staff to fill in the main floor. So it's never going to get done, though. David Miscavige hates Canada, so he's just not going to bother fixing this up. And they're not going to be able to raise any money for renovation. So either David Miscavige pays for it out of the IAS money, or it just doesn't get done. I don't think it's ever going to get done. So, smallest cult leader with the biggest buildings. You know, maybe he's compensating. Yes, we are in Canada. This is Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, Midwest. This is like the prairies here, and Willie and I are here for a week, and thought we'd just kind of check out the org here. So anyway, here we are. Let me flip this around again. Sorry for all the vertical. You know, actually, maybe in a way it worked out well, because then I get a nice vertical shot of the building. So, big building isn't tax exempt. So, you know, good point. There's no tax exemption here in Canada. It's not a recognized religion, and so they don't have tax exemption. I don't know how they pay the property tax on this building. I really don't. I'm surprised that they haven't lost it, because unless Miscavige coughs up some money for tax, they're getting ready for the big expansion. Note in Toronto, 72 Katie Law. Oh, I remember Katie Law. Who's saying? Oh, Frank Mahavlich. I know who that is. Oh, it's nice that you're checking in. Ah. Katie Lai told me the org was able to accommodate 100,000 staffers. The org board, right. So yeah, so supposedly the Scientology org board is huge. It comes from some galactic civilization from 1 million years ago or something. So anyway, that's Hubbard's thing. Well, in Winnipeg, check out the giant Coke bottle. Mind you, last I saw it was 40 years ago. I know who Frank Mahalich is. You know who that is? It's Ron Council.
Oh, okay.
So there we go. I know who that is. That's awesome. It's nice that you're checking in. So, yeah, if anybody has any questions about Winnipeg Org, it's just weird to me, because they have they've got on that building we were at before, where their current org is. They have the second floor and a little bit of the first floor there, I think, just where their reception is. It's so small, and it's just been so meager for so long that it's just never going to they're never going to get this done. But that guy, that staff member came out to take our video, and that guy was pretty solid. It's pretty, you know, I realized what I should have said to him. No, never mind, I won't say. Scientologists have overts and withholds. That's why they run away, and they're afraid to talk. Well, as soon as I told him, I said, "Do you want to know my name?" Man, that guy stopped on a dime and turned around.
Yeah.
Too funny. Scientology totally flunked everywhere. Oh, I missed the rest. It flipped off. It went away here. It's likely been replaced by a giant Pepsi bottle by now. If you guess my secret identity, it's me, Ron. No, I know who you are. I knew you were Ron. I just didn't want to say your name on here in case you didn't want to have your name out there. But it's nice to hear from you. Hit the like. Phil Jones is survivor. Oh, well, I appreciate the kind words. Thank you, Anna from Canada. Nice. So, here, let's flip this around here. How do I? Oh, here we go. All these different. Here we go. So let's turn around this way. We can see the building behind us and have a little. My gimbal is kind of weird today. So, so there's not much else to talk about Winnipeg because there's not much going on here.
There hasn't been.
Never occurred to him that you wouldn't be afraid of big bad Scientology. Desert Dog says, no, you know, it's, I'm not afraid of these guys. I mean, what are they going to do? I give them my name. It's like they don't have my name already. It's like they know, you know, I'm sure if he took the picture, he took the video of us, he'll pass it on to Osa and Osa say, oh, that's Phil Jones. So what difference did I give him my name or Osa gives him my name? But it just does. It shows that we're not afraid of them. You know, it's just, hey, yeah, take my name, no problem. I'm not afraid of those guys. They've already done their worst with us. You know, they got hate pages up on us. They've got our kids. They've done legal letters to us, a lot from their lawyers.
Followed by PIs.
Followed by PIs occasionally. So we're. All right, so okay. Detective Ludo's here. Nice to see you. Oh, look at all these people. Oh, and Scooter Mom, you big SP. Those already know you were coming. Sue Irwin said that, and I think you're right. There was a car right parked with somebody sitting in that for so long when we first arrived, like an hour ago. We arrived an hour early. But I don't know if it was any security or anything or whatever. But I'd be surprised if they didn't know we were coming because we announced it enough. Just tell them, follow me on YouTube. Yeah, I should have given the guy my YouTube channel so he could follow our videos.
If he's allowed.
Well, wait till he sees the next one. It's good. Hi from Ontario. Looks like a beautiful day. It is a beautiful day here. Mm-hmm. I got myself a fleece. This is very Canadian. Canadians are not like a plaid, and so I got myself a plaid shirt so I can be like fitting right in the Canadian thing. But it's almost too warm. I could just go in a t-shirt at this point. It's just so nice. Please check your text message when you get off live. I will. Thanks, Scooter Mom. So there's not a whole lot left to say here. I'm going to do. And I think, whoops, here it goes again, my gimbal's acting weird. So this coming week, I might not be doing a live. What I'm going to be doing is a series of shorts. I think at least 3 and maybe 4 shorts, or maybe more, depending on if I can find I've got a couple of things I just really want to cover. They're going to be just short little things, but they're pretty hard hitting. So I want to just throw them up there in like in 30-second to a minute bits. And we do that in northern Wisconsin, Minnesota too. Eyes to see 33. What city are you from, Phil? Well, I grew up in a little town outside of Toronto, a little town called Ajax, just about 30 minutes east of Toronto. And but Willie and I lived in Toronto for maybe 10 years. Well, on and off. Actually, in the 70s, we lived there for a while, and then we were back there in the 80s for 8-9 years. So we move out of the way for these guys coming down the sidewalk. So remind him to like and subscribe. Okay, who am I remind? Okay, like and subscribe. How you doing, guys?
Is there a concert here today?
Apparently, yeah.
Okay,
There's a guy with a bicycle rickshaw around. If you check with him, he'll let you know where and when.
You ever go to tavern here? It's an awesome place.
No, probably not. We're not staying around. Okay. But thanks.
But good food. You don't have to drink.
Awesome.
Thanks from Ontario, Pacific County.
Thank you very much.
Dude, have a great time.
You too. Okay, Okay, what else we got? We got terrific. Scientology did you? Yeah, I know. But there's so many people that Scientology is Scientology destroys everything they touch, basically, including that building behind us. Nice. This is yeah. So we're enjoying the weather. Yesterday rained all day, so today we're enjoying it. Thank goodness we got nice weather today for our little live stream walkabout. Detective Aludo, nice to see you. There's no way the entire building can see us. That's great. Well, Detective Aludo, it's there. It's empty. That building is empty. It's basically that's the building they bought for their ideal org. But I think maybe 15 years ago or so, maybe more. Oops, there goes my gimbal again. But it's empty. It's been deserted all that time. In fact, I think it was about 2012, we were in Winnipeg. Now our son works, he's in the Sea Org at Celebrity Center. This is before, like, we were still under the radar, but before we kind of got out, we had our
She's taking pictures.
oh, no, somebody else taking pictures of the building. So anyway, he's the one who used to put up all the ribbons for the grand openings of the buildings, and he was here scoping out this building way back then, and nothing has gone on since. So I don't know what he's thinking about that. Yeah, I wonder what that girl is taking pictures for. It's kind of interesting. I mean, the building itself could be beautiful if it was fixed up. Maybe she's just an architectural student. So Jeff is in the house. So I see PTS for life. Nice. Good to see you, Jeff. Yeah, people got, we lost a few subscribers. I think maybe I don't post enough videos. Once a week maybe is not enough. But like I said, I'm going to do some shorts this coming week, and I've got a couple of things I wanted to get out there and put out. So yeah, and congratulate PTS for Life, Jeff, that he now has his education signed up for, paid for, and ready to go to be a counselor, and I think he's going to do awesome at it. So let's all congratulate him. Well deserved. He's going to do incredible work, I'm sure, coming up. Looking forward to more content. Okay, so I guess at this point, unless anyone has questions, I don't want to bore you all to death. At this point, we're probably somewhat Winnipegged out, except I don't know what that girl is doing over there. Maybe we should just go should we go check?
They're done. She's leaving.
Oh, she's leaving. All right. I don't know if she's probably not Scientology. It's just that guy. That guy might be the only Scientologist. Frank Lovelace, not bored at all. All right. So here, let me.
She didn't know it was a cult.
Oh, she just liked the building. She didn't.
She just liked it because there's orange in it. And I was telling her about that it's a cult and stuff like that. She didn't know that building is connected to the other side.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
so she's like, oh, okay. So she's just walking away now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that building is never going to become an ideal org. I guarantee it's never going to happen. And, I'm sure that the staff members and any public that they might still have are going to be thinking, yeah, one day it's going to be our turn. I wonder when Scientology is going to start selling some of the buildings. That'd be a tough one for Miscavige to justify, because one of the reasons that he buys these buildings is because the money that goes, all those millions, tens and hundreds of millions of dollars that goes into Scientology, he buys the buildings so that because it's a religion and nonprofit, and if he stockpiled the money, then the IRS might step in and say something. But if he buys buildings, then he can justify it a little bit, saying, I'm buying buildings for our parishioners and, places for people to go. And you know, it's just a contribution to the local society or whatever, community. So if he started selling them, he might, I don't know if he might be able to sell a few here and there, but I don't know if he could start selling them off wholesale at this point, unless he could figure out something else to do with the money that, like feed the poor, or not going to happen though.
Y'all talking to each other on the phone?
No, no.
So we're talking about Scientology
Really?
and how it's a cult.
Oh, booze and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know about
Some of the locals stop by and say hello, and here we go. Phil, you now have to stay on room rate.
Everybody's allowed to.
So okay, so let's do one more walk around the building then. So
What are your thoughts about Scientology?
let's
I
go.
don't have any thoughts
All
on
right.
Scientology.
If they were to recruit you, would you?
All right, so this is for those who have just arrived.
Have a
This
nice
is
day.
the Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada Ideal Org building,
What their thoughts are.
and it's
Everybody has
completely
their own
empty,
opinion
completely
about it.
deserted,
Exactly.
I had to
derelict, and
tell her
inside I'm sure it's a
That
mess.
she was taking
Um,
pictures. No, don't
and
forget it.
and it's huge. It's, you know, if you look how big this thing is, it's an enormous building. They don't have enough staff even to
So it's
fill in
usually dead
the
here.
main floor.
15
and
years
they'll
ago,
never
it
have the
was
room
really
to-
Africa. You can
they'll
find
never
their
have the,
videos on
The
YouTube.
money to renovate it
For,
unless
Winnipeg
Miscavige coughs up the dough, but he's not going to do it for here. There's other buildings that I'm sure that he considers a much bigger priority. Do they not recruit here? You know, they probably do a little bit of that, but where they're located, which is down that way, where we just came from, that's like downtown, and it's a little bit. There's a lot of homeless people down there, and you know, if they do any kind of body routing, I honestly don't think they're going to get much going on. PDS for life. Every Scientologist in Winnipeg gets their own room in the building. So here's the thing: every Scientologist in Winnipeg gets 20 rooms. 20 rooms per Scientologist. Then Ideal Org. It's ideal that it's empty, that's for sure. Ideal empty building. If it was fixed up, I mean, if Scientology was a legitimate thing, it sure would have been a nice building to have. I'm sure that probably once in a while Scientologists in the area will drive by and go, oh, anytime now, that's going to be so good when it's all done. So yeah, let's do a little walkabout. I'm going to walk around the building again. I'm going to just go and show the, oh, I got to wait for the light, where the mortar is crumbling around. We haven't gone around the back, actually, have we? All right, let's go. Yeah, and I apologize for the vertical. Is it showing vertical on your phone too, Willie? Yeah, I'm sorry for the vertical. The button for setting it for horizontal was missing for some reason. I went in there like 3-4 times and I couldn't. SPT Vespinol, Phil Jones. Kind of bothersome when the voice of your partner overlaps with yours. Otherwise, great coverage. Yeah, another empty voice of my partner. So, oh, okay. We'll. Yeah, no, that wasn't my partner Willie. That was a guest we have here, who's a local activist, I guess. That. So here's some of the crumbling base of the building. This is the back. Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it could be a nice building. I would find it depressing to live in that building. Yeah, I would too. I mean, unless it was fixed up really nice. But you know, if they did fix it up really nice, um, there's just not anybody to. There's nobody to fill the building, and the area around here, it's a little sketch, as our grandson would say. A little sketch. So I have walked around. I just don't want to go in the back of the building because they were kind of hovering. That guy, the Scientologist, came out. I don't want to get trespassed or anything. But although this building is different, we can stay on their property. Let's do that.
Phil.
Look, I'm on their property. Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, it would be a bit depressing, wouldn't it? Wouldn't the city code enforcement agency and foundation crumbling? You'd think so. But you know, you look at Toronto Org, that's worse than this one. Hearing Phil say sketch, yeah, Toronto Org is deteriorating really bad. I'm surprised things haven't fallen off the Toronto Org building on Yonge Street and you know, fallen on top of somebody or even on the sidewalk. It's just so decrepit, that building. In Toronto, the Gladstone Hotel and are comparable. They got fixed up, but the time and expense was enormous. Scientology has the money and could do that if they, you're right. They could fix it up, but they don't. I just don't see the scavenge putting money into Canada. I just don't. There was, I think that story came from Mark Headley, where during that thing with the musical chairs that they did at the Int base, and I think, if I remember right, he was saying that yes, Toronto is empty too. Desert Dog. When they were doing their musical chairs, and Miscavige was threatening the staff that, as punishment, they might be sent to Canada. So I think it was back in the 80s, mid 80s, when the Snow White portion of Canadian, when there were 9 Canadians who were busted for infiltrating like the different police forces, our CRA, which is our IRS. And I think Miscavige, I think it was during that one that he came up and he testified and did really poorly. I got to find the video. Well, I don't know if there's a video on it, but I think there's a recording or a transcript or something out there on it. It'd be interesting to see what, I mean, apparently the way he answered questions and evasive and everything was pretty bad. Scientology is literally dying in Canada. Yes, like their buildings. Yeah, totally. They don't have tax exemption here, and they're just shrinking. There's not much Scientology left in Canada. There are some hanger-oners, but they're all the same people. I mean, even in Toronto, we see some of the old guys like, you know, Earl Smith, and you know, I mean, Earl is older than I am. So, you know, and some of their kids, I think, are around still. So, yeah, not much left. Canada. Okay, since you're in Canada, could you? Okay. Reporting the crumbling foundation. Yeah, I might do. I've tried stuff like that, not really successful, and I know that with Toronto building, I think that's been done as well. Oh, my gimbal is going funky here again. There we go. I feel like I'm on a ship weaving around because my gimbal is like all funky. So, all right. So, I'm in Winnipeg too. Are you there every day? Not every day. We are probably going to head out west from here, I think. So we're going to go to Calgary and then into the middle of BC and then maybe over to Vancouver. We'll see. But that's the plan anyway, if we can manage it, but we'll see. Scooter Mom doesn't get seasick. Yes, neither do I. When I was a kid, I think 5, 6 years old, and we were on a ship, well, the whole family, and everybody got seasick. And I was like running around that ship at 6 years old all by myself. And it was the only one that didn't get seasick. It was so rough. And I was, you know, they had the railings on the side of the ship and everything. And I was running up and down. Oh, it's amazing they let me do that on my own. But maybe they were too sick to realize it. Came from Danny. Oh, this is nice that Danny Raiders. Welcome everybody. This is so. Listen, any questions from anybody? I'd be happy to answer anything. Just you know, fire away. I'm an open book, and we can answer Scientology questions, personal questions. What's in my auditing folder? What overts did they write? Here we are at the back. Oh yeah, let's see if we can see. There's some graffiti up there that it's amazing how they got it. I gotta go way back on the other side of the street for that. Somebody wrote some graffiti just way up on the top floor there. I'm gonna see if I can get far enough away to see it. This is on the Scientology. Oh, there's too much traffic coming. I'm not crossing there. No, I still can't see it. There we go. We're starting to see the bit of the top of it. Here, let's cross. We'll get a good shot from over here. I had to laugh when that Scientologist, when I said, "Do you want to know my name?" And he stopped on a dime. All right, so I'm going to flip this around. I'm going to have to back up a little bit more. This is the back of the Scientology building, the Ideal Org building. I don't know what that says. Let me back up a little more. How the heck would they have to have a ladder to do that? It's amazing. Danny, thanks for the raid. So, yeah, I appreciate it. Everybody that shows up. I'm so appreciative of all you guys coming and hanging out with us in Winnipeg, Canada. Let's see if we can get a shot of this.
See if we can get the shot of the graffiti on the top.
I have no idea what that says. Sun
in cheek?
cheek. Oh, some in cheek. It wouldn't be tongue in cheek. Tongue. I don't know if I can get a better view of it.
It says sun cheek.
Sun cheek. Whatever that means. So anyway, maybe it's a mysterious OT symbol for OT9 or something. Oh, somebody's asking how long I was in. Yeah, Willie and I were both in for about 40 years, just slightly under. But we were under the radar for another 3 or 4 years after that. And and the reason we were under the radar was just so we wouldn't lose the kids, but in the end we got kind of turned in. So not good. How the hell did they get away with it? The graffiti?
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of graffiti around here downtown. Like almost every building I've seen has some graffiti on it. But how they got up there to that, on that building and put that graffiti up there, is amazing. I mean, they had to have had a ladder. Scooter Mom, ask him anything. Yeah, you can ask me anything. Anything about Scientology, and I may not know all of it, but I was never in the Sea Org though. So some of the questions that come up sometimes about Sea Org, I don't really know all the ins and outs of that. I always avoided the Sea Org. There was a chance for, you know, even in the early days to join the Sea Org, but I just didn't want to have anything to do with it. Whoops, there goes my gimbal again. There's a question in the Winnipeg Org. No. We started out, Willie and I started out at the Toronto Org, and then when we moved to Calgary for 3 years, we never did any service there, went back to Toronto, did services there. Then we moved to Clearwater, Florida, and we were there for 25 years. But in all the time we were in spitting distance from Flag, we never did any services there either. We weren't very good Scientologists, I have to admit. Question, is your grandkids in Scientology? No, none of our grandkids are in Scientology. And they won't. They're all, you know, our two of our grandkids, they're grown up and they have their own, one of them has their own kids, but they'll never go in. They know better. Brenda, there's no one in this building. Yeah, it's empty. It's derelict. And it never will be full. That's the back end of the building right there with the graffiti up top. That's the back of the Scientology Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada Ideal Org. Old and decrepit, empty. And they've never been in there. They've never had any public in there. They've never done any work on it. Nothing. It just, they bought the building and it just sat ever since. Nothing was ever done to it. Would love for my kids, folks, to get out. They've been in for 45 plus years. Wow. Learning and loving. Yeah, I feel bad. You know, Scientology has broken up so many families. It's really sad. That's why we're fighting. That's why we're doing this, just to kind of keep it going, just to keep the momentum going on it. And as a public Scientology, you know or hear of the abuses? No, not really. Oh, well, you know, you get a few clues, like there were some red flags and stuff along the way. But as far as all the really bad abuses and stuff, no. I mean, in Scientology, it's really, the information is very compartmentalized, and you're not going to hear that kind of stuff. They're not going to, you know, say, "Oh, Miscavige beats the staff." You're never going to hear that one. So, you have another question? Did you know about Lisa McPherson Trust when you were in Scientology? You know what's funny about? Well, not funny, but I was working for Flag Renovations at the time that was on, in the same building, the office right next to the Lisa McPherson Trust, and I had no idea. That's how compartmentalized the information was. As far as what we were told, though, there's just a couple of protesters. I had no idea. I'd never heard the name Lisa McPherson. I'd never heard anything about it. It was just, and I saw them occasionally, and when I was going in and out of the building, but I had no idea what they were doing. I just avoided them, just didn't really interact with them, nothing. What do Scientologists think about the protesters when they see us? You know what's a bit difficult sometimes, having been out now for 10 years, sometimes I try to put myself back in the headspace of what would I think if I saw protesters? The first thing is you kind of shut it out. Like you're not going to think about it too much. It's an avoid kind of a thing. You're going to be just sort of, I don't know how to describe it. And it's really, like I said, it's a little difficult to get my head back in that space to kind of, for how I felt back then and that. Some of the things I can kind of put my head into, But as far as the protesters go, I don't know how I think about that at this point.
I know that we were trained to shut those things out.
Yeah. And like Willie said, we were sort of trained to kind of, you get sort of conditioned into this double think, you know, oh, there's protesters, but we're doing fine. You know, it's like, how did you leave? So we were under the radar, and back in the, let's see, when would that be? About 2011 or 12, somewhere in there. There was this whole thing about if you're on Facebook and you have the wrong friends of somebody who might have left. There's my gimbal going funky. It's tilting. Sorry about this. So we were under the radar, and then my sister, who is very she's just hardcore Scientologist, and she's done a lot of work for OSA over the years, like for years and years. And she basically boiled down to, she turned us in. She found out that we were kind of out and not really with the program, and she just said, look, you either go to Flag and see the MAA, the ethics officer, and get your head straight, or you're going to lose your kids. And she went and turned us in, and that was it. We lost all our friends and family overnight. So that's how we got out, and not a pretty way, but I hope Davey hears us Canadians. Yeah. You know, I have to admire a lot of the Canadian activists. The Toronto crew that are down at the what they call the rental org on O'Connor in Toronto, and they're down there, and they're just troopers, just getting in there and just putting it out there. And then you got in the West Coast, you got PTS for Life, Jeff, who does an incredible job of informing people and getting down there, protesting in front of the org there. I got to hand it to a lot of the Canadians that are actually out there doing the work, and you know what? Scientology is shrinking in Canada, and I attribute it to all of them. That's, no, maybe not all of it, but you know what I mean. It's like, I think that they are definitely having an effect on it, and keeping it from growing. What do you think about the Moonies and the Hare Krishnas when you're in? Is that the question you're looking at?
No. Has Scientology been as aggressive to you or any protesters there? So they can watch the video of.
Yeah. Let me answer this other question here. Oh, about the Moonies. No, not really. Back in the early 70s, there was a lot of those groups in Toronto. The process, what do you call them? The Moonies were there. There was a lot of them, and you'd see them wandering by. But when you're a Scientologist, you think, in your head, you're going, we have the answers, they don't. And that's how Scientologists will think about any of those other groups. We have the answers, they don't. They think they might, but they don't. And that's how Scientologists will think. There was a question from Sheila. What was Sheila's question? How has Scientology been as aggressive to any protester there? No, the only thing we had was that one Scientologist that came out and videoed up. It got in our faces a little bit, but he got his video. He walked away a little bit, and then I said, "Do you want to know my name?" He stopped on a dime and turned around.
But also, they can watch the video of your police encounter.
Yeah. Okay. If you want to know if we're in Canada too, we did have the video where we encountered the police officer in Hamilton at the Sea Org. So you can just see the interaction there with the police.
Very different than the US.
A lot different than the US. The guy was really nice. Said, you guys have every right to be here. We talked about Scientology, but yeah, go watch the video. It's, we were educating him a little bit on Scientology, and that was right outside the Sea Org facility for Canada in Hamilton, Ontario. Do you think your kids believe, What was that one about? Do you think your kids believe? It slips by so fast in
Okay,
here.
do you think your kids believe? Have they gone up the bridge? I hope some under the radar Scientologist gives you updates on your kids.
We don't get updates on the kids, unfortunately. I think it's hard to know how much they believe because we just don't have any contact with them, so we don't really know what it's in their heads. I think probably our son Mike might be a little more committed, but I don't know. I think that our daughter is. She lives a bit of a different life than some. Question: when two of you are thinking of leaving, how did you approach the subject with each other? Were you afraid of having care? Written by the other one. That's from Sid Whittle. I came across in 2009 the Truth Rundown that was put out by the Tampa Bay Times. I think it was the St. Pete Times at the time, but anyway, I watched their videos. I read all the interviews and stuff, and basically that was it for me. Once I'd gone through all that stuff, it was a switch for me. I was done with Scientology, and I told her I didn't have any fear that she was going to write a KR on me. Some couples would have that fear, I'm sure, and I know that it's happened in the past where, one spouse will say something negative about Scientology, and then, the other spouse writes them up. But that I was never worried about with Willie. We've always, we've been in sync plenty enough in our whole lives, so that was never a worry. And then she just went through all the stuff as well, and she got out as well. Do you believe in Jesus Christ now? It's hard for me, having gotten out of a cult, to settle into any kind of belief system at this point. So people can believe what they want. It's just at this point in my life, no, to be honest. That's why I'm afraid to speak out or say anything negative to my parents. Yeah, it's a scary thought because it has happened many times with the children of or parents of, and then they lose their parents. I mean, we stayed, like I said, under the radar for 3 or 4 years, and we got to see the kids. We interacted with them somewhat, not a whole lot because they were in the Sea Org, but we did get to interact with them. You can see on my channel, there's a video of us interacting with them in LA for an LA trip. You can watch that video. That was while we were under the radar, but still considered in by others. And we managed to get a day with the kids out in LA. We had the grandkids with us, and it was a lot of fun. But once you're declared, you're out. Rambo, let's not get into religious discussion here, except for Scientology. We'll stay on point here on the subject matter of Scientology. Did someone help you that first day? What about money, jobs? Yeah, it was a bit tough. I mean, no, there was no one back then. Now there's foundations. There's the Aftermath. There's the SBTV Foundation. Back then there was nothing. So we kind of, once family went, friends went, business went, we were sort of like college kids in our 60s starting over. It was challenging, a little bit challenging at the time. Do you plan to go to protest in Montreal? I have no plans on going to Montreal. We're kind of in the opposite direction from where we live. We're west. Montreal is east from where we live in Niagara Falls. And maybe at some point we'll get out there, but my understanding, I think Aaron went out there and said there's not much happening out there as far as the org goes. So I don't know that there's much to see out there, but we'll see. And
So, did the church give you
show your golden? No. As far as seeing our goldenrod or SP Declare, we've never seen it. So sometimes sorry, it's kind of loud here. Sometimes when we've been protesting and there's been a OSA person or somebody come up and say, I've had them just look right at me, like Ed Park and most of the guy who does the Stan League hate pages. he came up to me one day and says, "You're an SP." I said, "Never seen it in writing. I've never seen anything. If it's not written, it's not true." But no, I've never seen it. I know that some people have gotten it. I think Tori got hers and proudly displays it, and good for her. When you first, did you still believe in LRH? No. Like I said, it was a switch for me at that point. When I went through all the stuff and I finally found out about the abuses, but the thing that clicked for me the most was when Jason Begay on his video said that basically he'd never met a clear, and the reason I got into Scientology was having read Dianetics, and I wanted the things for clear. I wanted to have the perfect memory, the perfect eyesight, perfect computation ability, perfect health, all the attributes of clear. And when Jason Begay said, "Show me a clear," I realized in 40 years of being in Scientology, I'd never met anyone with a single iota of any of those attributes, of all the people that claimed they were clear, including myself. But when I went clear, supposedly, I was getting auditing, and I said, to the auditor, "I just think I'm just making this stuff up." So that's the clear cognition. But I didn't feel any better, and I told him that. I said, "I don't feel any better. I don't feel anything." But he said, no, you're clear. I said, "Well, I didn't know what the cognition was." I said, "Well, tell me he said, you said the cognition, the clear cognition." I said, "Well, what was it?" I didn't realize what it was I said that made him think I was clear, but that was it for me. It was like no big sort of, "Oh, I'm clear now." It was just that I think I'm making this up and running it. I'm making this stuff up and running it, because you run out of things to run, because you get auditing for like thousands of hours. I had literally thousands of hours of auditing, and after a while, you're gonna run out of things to say. Sorry, I thought that there was a fender bender, but it's not. So yeah, a lot of people have gotten their SP declares, but we haven't seen ours. So I'm going to wrap this up at this point. Phil's spitting out facts. Don't troll him. Yeah. What did you think about your past life when you were a Scientologist? Oh yeah, I had a few of those, but again, they make it up. It's like I realized I was making the stuff up, but I was nobody famous, so I got to get back in so that I can become someone famous in my past life. I wasn't Jesus, I wasn't Buddha, I wasn't anybody famous, so it was just boring. Yeah, but still, I ran past supposed past lives, but it's just you make it up. It's just. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for showing up. Thank you for showing up. The reason I'm doing this to a large degree is because, you guys are out there supporting us and supporting all the other activists and streamers and YouTubers and bloggers and anybody who's out there fighting the fight. Let's keep it going. Scientology is on the ropes, and we just keep it up, and they're gonna fold at some point. So thanks again, everybody. Now I have to find the off button on here, and I don't see it. So we'll carry on for another 3 hours, and usually there's a little button up here. All right, so. I have no idea how to turn this off now. Usually there's a little button. All right. I'm going to turn this sideways. Everybody's going to fall out of their chairs right now. And I still don't see the button. How do I get out of here? Is that it? No? All right. All right. So I have no idea how to get out of this. There's usually a little X up there, but I don't see it. It's usually like right up in here. All right, I'm going to try backing out and see what happens. Did anybody fall over when I did that? If somebody did that when I was sitting on a chair and I was like, whoa, turn sideways. This is embarrassing. Oh, wait, I see it. Aha.